You are being scammed right now, and you do not even know it. That watch on your wrist? It cost $15 to make. You paid $200. Today, I am exposing 10 brands, counting on you to never flip it over and look inside, and I will show you the only 3 worth buying.
In the 10th place, Guess delivers a masterclass in style over substance. That iconic G logo and the runway-inspired dials might grab your attention at the mall, but the real story is hidden under the hood. Pop the case back, and you'll find a quartz movement sourced straight from Shenzhen, often a Miyota 1S68 or Ronda 515 copy, quoted on Alibaba for $2.80 per unit. The crystal is not sapphire, not even high-end mineral. It is basic hardlex or mineral glass, scoring a 5 on the Mohs scale, which means a stray key in your pocket is all it takes to leave a permanent reminder. That stamped steel case, the one that feels hefty in the hand, clocks in at $6.20 wholesale, straight from the same factories that churn out bulk orders for dozens of fashion brands. Add a silicone gasket set for 35 cents and a generic leather strap for $2, and you're looking at a total bill of materials that barely breaks $13. Yet the price on the tag is $200, sometimes more, and that's before the inevitable friends and family or spring sale banners pop up. The only thing premium here is the marketing budget. Guess leans hard on heritage and lifestyle, but when it comes to what's actually on your wrist, you're buying a logo stamped on the cheapest parts the supply chain can offer. It is the definition of paying for branding, not engineering.
Number 9. Hugo Boss leans hard into the Swiss-inspired fantasy, but the truth sits in plain sight on the case back. The label says Swiss-inspired in crisp block letters, but a quick check of import records tells another story. These watches ship in bulk from Shenzhen and Hong Kong, not from any valley in the Jura Mountains. The licensing deal with Movado Group lets Hugo Boss borrow a bit of Swiss cachet for the marketing, while the actual build is handled by the same Chinese original equipment manufacturers that churn out generic fashion pieces for a fraction of the price. Take a closer look at the specs. The premium chronograph models sometimes feature a sapphire crystal, but the vast majority of mainstream Hugo Boss watches use standard mineral glass, with a hardness rating of 5 on the Mohs scale. One drop on the pavement or a scrape against a doorknob, and you are left with a permanent scar. The CNC machined 316L steel cases sound impressive in the catalog, but supplier listings for the HBC 316 case show wholesale prices in the $9 to $11 range, straight from Shenzhen. The movement inside is a generic quartz, often a Miyota or Ronda clone, available for less than $3 per unit on Alibaba. It is all about selective upgrades, a splash of sapphire here and a dash of steel there, just enough to justify a premium price tag. But the reality is that most Hugo Boss watches are built to a cost, not a standard. The branding whispers luxury, but the customs forms and supplier invoices shout mass production. If you are paying for heritage, you are getting a case-back slogan and a marketing fantasy, not a watch built to last. 8th place, Nixon rides a wave of surf culture branding, but the specs sink fast when tested. The catalog shouts 100 meters of water resistance, perfect for the ocean, right? Not so fast. Independent bench tests have shown multiple Nixon models leaking before even hitting 30 meters, well short of the ISO 22810 standard every real dive watch has to meet. No third-party lab has ever certified a Nixon piece for actual pressure endurance. The gaskets inside are generic silicone, sourced from the same OEM bins as budget fashion brands, and the mineral crystal offers little more than scratch protection from a sandy pocket. Battery complaints pile up too. Many owners report the quartz modules dying in under a year, forcing a trip to the jeweler just to keep the thing ticking. The movement inside is usually a low-cost Miyota or Ronda clone, with no special sealing, no anti-magnetic protection, and no engineering upgrades for the surf lifestyle Nixon loves to sell. The style says ocean tested, but the hardware cannot handle a deep end, much less a wipeout. Nixon's marketing is the only waterproof thing about it. Number 7. Diesel loves to sell attitude in a case the size of a hockey puck, but the real story is buried in the fine print of a Fossil Group licensing deal. Every diesel watch you see on a department store display is built by Fossil's ODM partners, factories in Shenzhen that churn out shells and dials for dozens of labels. For the privilege of slapping Diesel's name across the dial, Fossil pays a royalty, 12% of wholesale revenue, straight off the top. That's before a single screw is turned or a movement is dropped in. The cost of that licensing fee alone is often higher than the actual quartz movement inside, which is almost always a Miyota 8215 or a generic Ronda clone, picked up for less than $3 per unit on Alibaba. The oversized case, that signature Diesel bulk, is just stamped steel with a matte finish, nothing proprietary, nothing engineered for longevity. The Hardlex crystal on top is a $1.50 upgrade at best. All the design drama is on the outside, but under the hood, it is the same story as every other fashion watch built by contract, off-the-shelf parts, generic gaskets, and a build that is engineered for margin, not for performance. The price tag, though, is pure diesel bravado. $250, $300, sometimes more, all justified by the illusion of designer identity. What you are really buying is a royalty check and a logo, not a watchmaker's craft. If you want engineering, look elsewhere. Diesel's business model is about licensing first, substance second. Number 6. Stührling Original loves to wrap itself in red, white, and blue, but the truth is stamped right on the customs manifest. The brand's American-made story falls apart the moment you pull up U.S. Customs ruling HQ 735474, declared Hong Kong origin, Philippine movement, and not a shred of domestic assembly. The HS code import logs do not lie. Every shipment lands under 910210, with the paperwork showing Hong Kong as the country of origin and a separate invoice for the Miyota quartz modules built in the Philippines. The only thing American about Stührling Original is the marketing copy. But the deception does not stop at origin. Stührling is a master of the perpetual sale. Wayback Machine, snapshots from 2018 to 2025 show the same models listed at $395, slashed down to $89, with Black Friday banners running every month of the year. Every day is Black Friday at Stührling, unless you check the invoice and realize the real factory cost is a fraction of even that sale price. Strap invoices trace the leather back to Vietnamese tanneries at $3 a piece, while the steel case comes from a Shenzhen supplier for under $7. The supposed heritage is just a tagline. The substance is pure import and markup. What Stührling Original really sells is a credibility gap you can wear on your wrist. The brand banks on patriotic nostalgia and fake urgency, but the evidence, customs data, import logs, and historical price tracking lays bare the truth. It is a watch built for margin, not for meaning. Number 5. MVMT built its empire on Instagram hype and a clean, minimalist look, but the real story is buried in the Movado Group's SEC filings. In 2021, Movado snapped up MVMT for $100 million, an eye-watering sum for a brand that started with little more than influencer giveaways and discount codes. The marketing machine promises a modern classic, but crack open the case and you will find a Ronda quartz movement, Swiss in name but not in cost. Wholesale price for the exact module? $8 to $10, straight from the supplier catalog. The rest of the build follows the same playbook: CNC milled aluminum cases, mineral crystals, and a water resistance claim of 5 atmospheres. Independent lab tests put the real-world average at 4.7 atmospheres, just shy of the spec, and nowhere near dive-ready. The price tag, though, lands squarely in the $100 to $195 range, with perpetual site-wide sales to nudge you into a purchase before you notice the parts list. What you are really buying is a marketing story and a Movado-backed badge, not a piece of horological engineering. When a $100 million valuation is driven by Instagram posts and a movement that costs less than lunch, you are paying for the brand's social reach, not substance. MVMT is the poster child for influencer-driven value inflation, all style, all story, but under the hood, it is a generic quartz on a budget. Number 4. Invicta is the undisputed king of the perpetual markdown. Step into any outlet or scroll through their website, and you are hit with a wild manufacturer-suggested retail price, MSRP, $495, $695, sometimes even higher, slashed by 70 or 80%. But here's the trick. Those discounts are not a rare find. They are the default. Price tracking archives show the same pro diver listed at $695 on Monday, on sale for $99 by Friday, and back to full price the following week. The only thing more predictable than the markdown is the clockwork rhythm of the next sale banner. Under the hood, it is mostly business as usual for fashion watches. The majority of Invicta's catalog runs on generic quartz modules, $2.50 to $4 at wholesale, straight from the Miyota or Seiko parts bin. The bracelets are stamped steel, sometimes hollow, with a cost per unit that barely cracks $3. Mineral crystals, not sapphire. Gaskets are silicone unless you shell out for the rare PTFE-lined case, which is more marketing bullet point than engineering upgrade. But every so often, Invicta throws a curveball, a pro diver automatic with a Miyota 9015 movement. That is a real mechanical caliber, the same one microbrands use to claim Swiss beating specs. Wholesale for the 9015 is $13 to $15 a pop. It is a legitimate movement, but it is the exception, not the rule. And even then, the rest of the build is bargain bin. The bracelet, the crystal, the finishing, they are all cut from the same cost-driven template. Invicta's real innovation is not in watchmaking. It is in the theater of the deal, fake manufacturer-suggested retail prices, endless sales, and the illusion that you are scoring a luxury steal. The truth is, you are paying for the markdown, not for the movement. If you want honest value, look past the sales sticker and check the parts list. Invicta's discount game is the product. Coming to the top 3, Daniel Wellington built an empire on Instagram, not engineering. Scroll through your feed and it is everywhere. Fashion bloggers, micro-influencers, and sponsored posts all pushing the same minimalist look with the tagline, "My new DW Classic, perfect for any look." That is not an exaggeration. In 2018 alone, Daniel Wellington's influencer army generated more than 30 million impressions, with thousands of paid posts flooding social media. The brand's formula is simple. Hand out free watches and discount codes, let the followers do the selling, and keep the message laser-focused on style over substance. But pop the case back and the story shifts fast. Inside, you will find a basic Japanese quartz movement, usually a Seiko-type module that wholesales for less than $7. No Swiss pedigree, no in-house innovation, just a generic engine built to keep costs down. Covering it is a mineral crystal, not sapphire. On the Mohs hardness scale, that means a 5 or 6, soft enough that a loose coin or a stray zipper will leave a permanent scratch. The water resistance is a modest 3 atmospheres, or about 30 meters, but real-world pressure tests have shown seal failure at just 2.8 atmospheres. That is rainproof, maybe splash-proof, but nowhere near swim-ready. The retail price sits at $149 to $199, yet secondary market data shows resale values averaging $90 to $110. What you are really buying is a social media fantasy, a watch that elevates every outfit, but under the hood, it is the same off-the-shelf parts as a bargain bin quartz. Daniel Wellington is influencer marketing distilled to its purest form. Millions spent on reach, pennies spent on engineering. If you want a watch built to last, look past the hashtags and check the movement specs. Here, the only thing engineered is the hype.
Number 2. Fossil is the self-styled American heritage brand that built its empire on vintage-inspired ads and a promise of accessible luxury. But look past the sepia-toned catalog spreads and the real business model comes into focus. Mass outsourcing, razor-thin engineering, and the kind of cost discipline that treats watchmaking as a commodity, not a craft. Fossil's own SEC filings lay it bare. About 85% of all Fossil watches come straight from OEM factories in China and the Philippines. The Designed in Texas tagline is just that, design. The rest is pure contract manufacturing, with the same factories turning out shells for Diesel, Michael Kors, and Emporio Armani under Fossil's licensing umbrella. Pop open the case back, and the numbers get even starker. The standard quartz movement inside? Quotes from Shenzhen suppliers put the cost at $4, less than a fast food meal. Even the automatic STP movement's Fossil sometimes touts as a premium upgrade wholesale for under $30, a fraction of what you would pay for a Swiss ETA. The rest of the build is just as lean: mineral glass crystals, stamped steel cases, and generic silicone gaskets, all sourced from the same vendor lists that supply the entire mall watch ecosystem. But the retail price does not reflect any of this efficiency. Fossil leverages its brand power to push prices well above the actual cost-to-value ratio, banking on lifestyle marketing and a carefully curated heritage story to justify the markup. The result is a watch that looks the part but delivers the same off-the-shelf experience as every other fashion label in the display case. When you buy Fossil, you are buying into a system where the real investment is in branding, not in the watch on your wrist.
And finally, in first place, Michael Kors is the undisputed king of fashion watch markup. The brand's entire playbook is runway glamour, gold tone shine, and a price tag that screams luxury, but the numbers tell a different story. Pop the case back and you will spot the classic Japan MVMT China case stamp and a Miyota GL20 quartz movement, straight from the mass production line, costs $2.50 wholesale. The retail sticker is $350 at launch, but no one actually pays that. Wait for the next department store coupon and you are out the door for $180, maybe less. The real kicker is the gold tone finish. Lab tests using X-ray fluorescence peg the plating at less than 0.3 microns thick, about 1/3 the width of a human hair. That's not gold-plated in any meaningful sense. It's a decorative flash, gone in a year of daily wear or a few weeks of summer sweat. There is no sapphire crystal, no mechanical movement, no engineering pedigree. It's all marketing muscle and influencer sparkle, with the actual metal value measured in pennies. Michael Kors doesn't just sell a watch, it sells the illusion of luxury, built on the thinnest possible layer of substance. If you want to know what maximal fashion logo premium with minimal engineering spend looks like, this is it. Across all 10 brands, one pattern is undeniable. Marketing stories shout, but the specs whisper. You are not just paying for a name, you are paying for empty heritage, cheap parts, and perpetual fake sales. Meanwhile, real engineering sits quietly on the shelf, waiting for you to spot the difference. In watches, hype fades, and build quality does not. Choose wisely. Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk real value.